Hello everybody, today a look at two multifunctional knife tools, is the best word I have for them, from Leatherman. So Leatherman company becoming very popular with their plier-based multifunctional tools. They also have a series of tools already now in a second generation that are based around the knife for people who prefer, whose main interest is a knife with extra tools, you could say, instead of pliers with extra tools. It is true that these knife based tools live a bit in the shadow popularity wise from the plier based tools, but okay, Leatherman tries to offer something where actually a company like Victorinox is very popular by using, I would say, a more industrial kind of feel to their tools. They feel a bit more, they have some more heft to them than Victorinox tools. Well, are they better? That is debatable, but we will have now a closer look at the bigger one, which is one which is not being made anymore, is the K502X. Quite a hefty knife based tool, and here a more recent Expanse series e33T, quite a slender pocketable thing, while the other one that we discussed first is really something to put on the sheet. As you can already notice how wide it is, and it is pretty heavy as well. Both knives actually have 154 steel for the blade, so really good steel. For most for even tough use, largely good enough actually, 154 steel, similar to ATS 34 in composition and characteristics, so a really good modern steel, while they also exist with a kind of a 420 variant for the more occasional users, of course at a lower price, so they have something for everybody there. Let's have a look at this one. If I'm not mistaken, they do not always come with a sheet. When I bought this in a special promotion, it came with a sheet and with extra bits, as you can see. So that gives. So indeed, this one, if your main tool, everyday tool needs are knife and screwdriver kind of based, then this one may be worth your consideration if you can still find it. It feels quite okay in the hand, but it's of course wide and rather heavy. It's certainly 160 grams or so. I didn't measure. You see here some bits sticking already in the handle. You can put here your most used ones, and the other ones you leave here in the bit holder, so you can exchange to your liking. It's strangely, it smells still a bit of machine shop, so it gives it that it has that industrial flavor to it. So it's a one-hand opening blade. It opens smoothly enough and it locks well enough. It's a good sturdy back lock, so there's really nothing wrong with that in that respect. Roughly 3 mm here, so it can handle a lot of general utility. I mentioned already the 154 cm is perfectly good, nicely sharp out of the box, and yes, pretty okay in the hand, even if it's rather heavy, and maybe some people may find it a bit wide. It's a bit more than 2 cm wide here. It's not an inch, but a bit less than an inch in width, so it's quite a wide thing actually. So let's close the main blade again. It goes smoothly enough. You really have a sturdy feel. Another tool that this one here has is a bottle opener. A can opener, which works. I tried it once. Well, I usually use normal can openers, but this one, I have the impression that the one from Victorinox works still is a bit better, but okay, it works. And where do you actually put all those bits? Well, here is a screwdriver device, which is quite sturdy. So you can see it is really, it fits, it's quite, you can really put some force to it. So I also have the Cyber tool from Victorinox, which is a wonderful device for, let's say, the finer electronical screwdrivers that you would need, and that feels sturdy as well. This one is perhaps still a bit sturdier. Okay, so that is quite nice actually, the way they do that. And then there's a third almost hidden option that it has. So here you see this slider. You can slide this out and look, you actually have a kind of a hanger. If you could, for example, carry it at the back like that, and with some practice you can use this hook also to open bottles. So that is also pretty okay. And yes, so you slide it back to be able to slide it in again. So a pretty reasonable knife with a 3-inch blade, and sturdy enough. Bon, let's have a look here at the newer version, new generation, because perhaps because of the weight that this one was less popular. I don't know exactly why, but they were not so popular as perhaps they should have been. So they tried again, you could say, a second try with the Expanse series. This is a small one. It also exists in a big version with a lot of bits, similar to the one that you just saw. Well, I must say, out of the box, it didn't really impress me. Does the light bring it? You see, there were already a few small scratches here out of the box. Well, so I open it. It is quite good in the hand. It is quite pocketable. It has a big clip, totally without style in my opinion, but it works well enough. The blade, well, now it looks well. Sometimes it did wobble a bit, and that's why I had to adjust. Now the liner lock doesn't actually inspire utmost in confidence. So it's barely used and it's already completely to the right. So that is, I don't like that so much. So here the feelings of this one are a bit mitigated actually when you feel it in the hand. It's quite okay, but it's not outstanding. And the extra tools, well, there is a kind. This opens pretty with gritty. It seems as if there is a bit of sand there or so. A kind of Phillips kind of screwdriver. And here a classic screwdriver, which is perhaps a bit too wide. So this one also exists in a somewhat heavier, thicker version with replaceable bits. This is the most slender one with just two Phillips and a normal screwdriver. And I don't know, I think to be really more slightly less wide screwdriver would have been, at least for me, a bit more interesting. You can actually, with the lever here, they call it a blade launcher. With some practice you can open the blade with that, but I never got it to open completely. Maybe that's just me. Finally, it has, similar to the big one, but also the hanger and bottle opener. So both knives, so yeah, it's a bit, you have to press it in and then you can turn it again. So that's how it is. So indeed it's quite clever how much they actually put in this small little device. That I think is quite interesting. On the other hand, I'm not so convinced by the lock here. It feels a bit, actually it feels a bit cheap while it is not cheap. That's a bit a problem that I have with this one. The bigger, older one in that respect really demanded more respect. So if I summarize, well, I would say especially the bigger ones are well, I've not tested and not tried the big Expanse. I can only assume that it's similar to this one in feel. The bigger ones feel quite sturdy with a good back lock. The liner lock of the small ones for me is not 100% okay. Big ones are heavy, it must be said, quite too heavy for many people, more a sheet kind of knife with usable tools. The small ones, well, yeah, you have here a few two screwdrivers which perhaps are just good for you. Otherwise, if you want a small one, it also comes with bits. But I must say, instead of the smaller one, I don't think it competes with this. The classic Victorinox Soldier, which also has a bottle opener, a can opener, with two normal screwdrivers at the end of the bottle and the can opener tool. This actually feels of much higher quality than the small Leatherman. It's lighter as well. So in that context, the small one I think was a bit disappointing. And even if you don't do the heaviest kind of screwdriver abuse, then probably the Victorinox Cyber tool is also an interesting alternative for the big one. So if I summarize, yeah, they are not bad, but these two tools don't excite me as much as I thought they would. Sturdy for the big one, smaller one less convincing. But so perhaps they are just what you need. At least in both cases the blade material is really good. So I hope you found this an interesting comparison, and as usual, feel free to leave feedback.